Welcome. I'm Christine Manning with the Wine Education Institute. Thank you for joining me in this advanced class on the wines of New Zealand. Today, we are exploring a country that has built its global reputation despite its relatively small size and extreme isolation. Sitting in the Pacific Ocean, roughly 1,900 kilometers away from Australia, New Zealand is a terroir entirely defined by maritime surroundings and varying topography. In this video, we will break down the geography, climate, viticulture of this country, as well as explore its major grape varieties. Finally, we will take a detailed tour through the distinct regions of the North and South Islands. Let's dive in. New Zealand, composed of two narrow islands surrounded by the cold Pacific Ocean, has a classic maritime climate. Given its location in the southern hemisphere, the North Island generally is warmer than the South Island. Overall, New Zealand's vineyards benefit from a combination of long sunny days and nights cooled by sea breezes. And as we've seen in our other regions throughout the wine world, this shift of warm versus cool influences within a growing season allows for a long ripening period while retaining vibrant acidity. When we look at the South Island, the vineyards are predominantly located on the eastern side of the island, as the southern Alps run down the spine of this island, protecting vineyards from the heavy, rain-bearing westerly winds coming off the ocean. In terms of the soil and the vine, New Zealand's flat valley floors are often free draining, which prevents waterlogging, but they can be overly fertile. This fertility causes excessive shoot and leaf growth. To combat this, New Zealand grape growers use canopy management and trellising techniques that help fruit get optimal sun exposure and airflow. Much of New Zealand's wine growing is committed to environmental sustainability. The vast majority of producers adhere to the Sustainable Wine Growing New Zealand initiative. Now let's talk about what is actually planted in these vineyards. Sauvignon Blanc is New Zealand's flagship grape, accounting for the majority of its wine production. Pungent aromas of elderflower, passion fruit, and gooseberry, backed by high acidity, are hallmarks of this style, and an easy multiple choice point if you see the word gooseberry in an answer. Winemakers typically ferment in inert, temperature-controlled stainless steel to preserve aromatic primary fruit aromas, although some producers may experiment with old oak for added texture. Widely planted and highly successful, Chardonnay often displays concentrated citrus and tropical fruit flavors. Winemakers frequently use subtle toast on French oak, along with malolactic conversion and lees stirring to add complexity. Dry autumns and cool nights are perfect for aromatic varieties. You'll find excellent Riesling, Gewürztraminer, and Pinot Gris. New Zealand Pinot Gris tends to be made in a style that can range anywhere from dry to sweet, medium acid, full in body, and ripe peach, and maybe even some spice notes. Pinot Noir is the second most planted grape in the country, and it really thrives in the cooler climate of the southern regions. Classic New Zealand Pinot Noir shows vibrant red fruit, fine tannins, soft texture, and can get relatively high in alcohol. Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon are used to create Bordeaux-style blends, but because they do need more heat to ripen, they're concentrated in the warmer North Island. Cab Sauv is frequently used to add tannin and notes of cassis to a softer, plummier Merlot. Also requiring heat of the North Island, Syrah produces elegant wines that lean closer to the peppery, structured style of Rhone Valley rather than those jammy, hot climate Shiraz Australian styles. Before we jump into our regional tour, let's briefly overview legal framework, which, fortunate for us, is pretty straightforward. New Zealand's Geographical Indication system was only recently established, with first GIs being registered in 2017. If a wine is labeled with a specific GI, grape variety, or vintage, a minimum of 85% of those grapes must come from that stated GI, variety, or year. That's it. Now, let's begin our tour in the warmer, wetter North Island and make our way south. Located in the northern part of the island, Auckland is one of the warmest and wettest regions in the country. Because of high amounts of rainfall, fungal disease can be an issue. High-quality Chardonnay, Merlot, and Syrah can be grown here. The most prestigious sub-area is Waikiki Island, which is just east of the city, which has a reputation for top-quality red wines. Moving down the east coast, we find Gisborne. This region experiences high rainfall and warm temperatures, but it does get plenty of sunshine. This combination allows it to produce distinctively ripe, tropical flavored Chardonnay, which is by far the most planted variety. It also produces quality Gewürztraminer and full-bodied Pinot Gris. Just south of Gisborne is Hawke's Bay. This is the warmest of the main grape growing areas and has the longest sunshine hours in New Zealand. The soils are diverse, but most famous known for its Gimblett Gravels. This area features well-drained, heat-absorbing gravel soils on the valley floor, which acts like a radiator for the vines. This extra heat is important for ripening late-maturing black grapes and giving Hawke's Bay a premium reputation for concentrated, high-quality Bordeaux blends and Syrah. At the very southern tip of the North Island lies Wairau, meaning glistening waters in Maori. A vast river system and gravelly soils are found throughout this region. Vineyard lands are spread out, but the town of Martinborough is well known for its long summer ripening sunshine and a wide diurnal range. This dynamic allows Martinborough to make premium quality Pinot Noirs. Crossing the Cook Strait, we enter the South Island, where the climate becomes noticeably cooler and the focus shifts heavily towards vibrant whites and elegant Pinot Noirs. We start in Marlborough, the undisputed heartland of New Zealand wine and volume leader in the country. It is in the northeast corner of the South Island, and the climate is cool and maritime. Mountains provide protection from rain and cooling nighttime temperature to the valley, while sunshine provides ripening and wind dries out the soil. All of these factors allow for high acid, pronounced flavored Sauvignon Blancs. There are two distinct estuary valleys in Marlborough. The first is the Wairau Valley, which is the larger of our two valleys. It has long sunny days and a range of aspects and soils. Sauvignon Blanc from here generally shows more pronounced tropical fruit flavors. The second valley is parallel and just to the south. The Awatere Valley is drier, cooler, and windier, making Sauvignon Blanc from Awatere higher in acid and more pronounced in a herbaceous character. Alongside Sauvignon Blanc, Marlborough produces excellent Pinot Noir and Chardonnay, much which is used for high-quality sparkling wine. Located just to the northwest of Marlborough, Nelson has a climate that is cooler and wetter. The environment favors the retention of delicate aromas and fresh acidity, making it great for Sauvignon Blanc, Pinot Noir, and Pinot Gris. Further down the eastern coast is Canterbury. This region near Christchurch is cooled by Pacific Ocean breezes. The most renowned subregion is the Waipura Valley, located to the north, not to be confused with the Wairau Valley on the North Island. The Waipura Valley is slightly less exposed to the ocean than other South Island valleys, and this benefits also from warming northwesterly winds. It's famous for high-quality Riesling with great Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir. Finally, we journey fully inland to Central Otago. This is unique because it is in the foothills and completely surrounded by the Southern Alps, being totally cut off from the ocean. This gives Central Otago a true continental climate. Because of this, it is the only wine region in New Zealand where autumn frost is a hazard. During the summer, days are warm and sunlight is intense with diurnal swings. This intense sunlight accumulates those grape sugars quickly. Central Otago is almost entirely dedicated to Pinot Noir, which will show high acid, full-bodied, and vibrant concentrated red fruit, making wines of very good to outstanding qualities. They also produce smaller amounts of Pinot Gris, Riesling, and Chardonnay. Let's recap our land of the Kiwis. Remember that New Zealand's signature style comes from its latitude, maritime climate, and combination of long sunshine hours and cooling sea breezes. This creates that coveted balance between flavor concentration and refreshing acidity. Be sure to keep these cause and effect relationships in mind and be prepared to explain how these affect the wine in your glass. Regionally, we see differences from North to South Island. The warmer North Island dominates the production of Bordeaux varieties and Syrah, particularly in the heat-absorbing Gimblett Gravels of Hawke Bay. Meanwhile, the cooler South Island is the kingdom of Sauvignon Blanc and Pinot Noir. Finally, don't forget the geographical exception of Central Otago. Its continental climate, frost risks, and intense sunlight that produce those powerful, juicy Pinot Noirs that are shining examples from New Zealand. Thank you for joining me in this session. Best of luck on your studies. Look forward to seeing you soon. Cheers.